Hey mama, and welcome to the podcast. I am Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5, and we are going to talk about what might be going on in your body and in your mind during this week 8 of pregnancy. Let's jump into it. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Thanks for joining. Hey mama, welcome to the podcast. We today are going to talk about how your baby, your body, and your mind might be changing for that week 8 of pregnancy. Around this time is likely when most OBs want to see you in office and you can get that first ultrasound done. As I've mentioned in past episodes, sometimes that first ultrasound is done vaginally. I was not prepared for that when it came to my first baby, so be prepared that is something they do. Some offices will want to also check blood work and do some blood work at this appointment. And at almost all of the prenatal appointments I have been to, they almost always have me give a urine sample. So that is something else to to prepare your mind for, to be prepared for, that you have enough fluids in your body so that you can give a urine sample. Some of those things are just good to know, good to be reminded of when it comes to your pregnancy. So your baby this week is about the size of a little raspberry, and there's so many amazing changes that are happening. It's got 2 little spots where the eyes are going to be forming. There's webbed hands forming. Your placenta is still forming onto your uterus, and so the baby is in the yolk sac still, but it is progressing. And even though this is such a little thing inside your body, you are probably feeling pretty awful. You might be feeling very sick. This is a very, very difficult time. That was the hardest time of pregnancy for me, and it might be for you too. That nausea can really completely knock you off your feet. I'm going to go into more of the mental stuff to work for this week because it is needed. It is greatly needed to work with your mind. This time, even though it's around 6 weeks for most women, for some longer, for some shorter, it can be debilitating. There are a few tips that I want to give you to help you during this time. The first mindset tip, there will be 3 total in this episode, but all my episodes have mindset tips to help you through this hard season. The first tip is to feel it to heal it. You probably feel awful. You probably feel like you can't do anything. Some of the simplest things that you've done before are hard. It's hard to get dressed. It's hard to make food. It's hard to smell food. It's hard to be around smells. Sometimes it's hard to be touched. It's just hard. And when all of these things that used to be easy start to add up, it gets pretty heavy. And it can feel like you are inadequate, not just because you are sick, but because you don't really feel good enough to do anything. So this is where I encourage you to feel it to heal it. I had to do this with my 5th pregnancy. Unfortunately, it took me doing my own course to remind myself that I needed to do this. But as I took that course and I reminded myself of all these mindset tips, I realized how important this was during this season. This tip is not pretty, it's not usually enjoyable, but honestly, it can help give you mental relief. Feel the pain you are going through. Just kind of allow yourself to feel annoyed, frustrated, angry, upset. Feel those feelings. Now, these are negative emotions, and it's not very fun to feel the negative emotion. This feeling of these things will not be very fun. But as you just allow yourself to take a minute or 2 to feel it, it can begin to heal. and you can begin to get out of the pit that you're in and start to see a little clearer. I found that I had to basically cry every day for a while because I had so many negative thoughts and emotions and feelings about what was happening in my body and why did I have to feel so sick and why was it so hard? Why couldn't I couldn't even do laundry, couldn't even throw the clothes in the washer. The basic of basic things. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't put a bra on. I hated bras, got so uncomfortable for me. And it was very mentally trying. If you are in that phase and it is mentally trying for you, I encourage you to try to feel it to heal it. If you don't, you'll just keep suppressing those negative emotions. They will get shoved under and you will get bottled up. And then when you get too bottled up and it gets full, what happens? That bottle, it overflows, and it can come out as an outburst on your husband or your children or any other person around you, maybe a friend. Maybe things that you don't mean to say and do can come out because you felt so much of that negative emotion and it just can't stay in anymore. You have to let some of it out. So I found this tool to be very helpful. I also found that after I had a good cry, a good frustration vent, that I was able to think a little clearer. Even though I was still sick and nauseous and not able to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do, my mind was a little more able to relax and be focused on just getting through. So that's my first tip for today is just to feel it to heal it. I know it doesn't sound fun, and I know when you're in the middle of it, it's going to feel awful, but I have a feeling if you're like me, afterwards you'll feel better and you'll feel more relief. So it might take a couple of days though, because you might have a lot of bottled up emotion, but I encourage you to give this a try. My next tip is to don't make long-term decisions during this time. I have recently watched a YouTuber who is pregnant, and she's fairly popular. I think has more than 100,000 subscribers or something like that. And she was saying how during this sickness time for her, she wanted to quit YouTube. She even just told her husband, don't let me make any long-term decisions because I'm not in the right rationale right now. And that's how you might be. You might be in not thinking rationally. And I'll tell you something that I did during this season, this annoying first trimester, that really was a long-term decision and made me very upset and brought a lot of other negative emotion because I did this. I was so sick one day and my hair felt greasy. I just felt nasty. I was very upset. I know you can't see me because I don't currently do videos with my podcasts. Maybe I'll get there someday. But currently it's just audio, but I like to keep fairly long hair. At least down to my breasts or longer if it will grow longer. But I was so sick of my hair that I just took it in a ponytail and I chopped the ponytail off. I didn't even try to measure it to make it even. And it was about right between my chin and my shoulder. So I cut a good 6 to 8 inches off. And it was awful. It really was awful. My hair looked awful. It was butchered. One side was shorter than the other. I was sick, so I felt awful in that way. I even have videos of how awful I felt after this. I think I might have even filmed me cutting it off. I was like, this is just going to make me feel better. And it totally did not. It was hard. I actually had to have my mother-in-law fix my hair a few times to try and even it out and to get it somewhere where I could deal with it because it was a very bad decision. Even if your hair is driving you nuts, but you prefer long hair, don't cut it off during these 6 weeks. It has taken me a year and a half, maybe 2 years. We're coming up on 2 years, so I'm at a year and a half, and it's almost as long as it once was. But that was a long-term thing, and I had to deal with the short hair and a lot of the frustrations from that decision. So do your best to not make long-term decisions that are going to, that you might not like after the 6 week is done. Because even though the 6 weeks or however long it happens to be, for me it tended to be a little more like 8 to 10 weeks. Even though it right now feels like eternity, it does come and go. One of the positive thoughts that can be useful to tell yourself when you're feeling like that is to just remind yourself, this is just temporary and it is so worth it. Bringing this little baby into the world, into your home from God is so worth it. It really is beautiful. And I know that as you take the time to slow things down by healing it to feel it, and don't make long-term decisions that are going to negatively impact you, you will find more happiness. And the third tip, which I am now realizing I probably should have done first, but I didn't, is that you may not feel like yourself during this time. I did not feel like myself during this time. In fact, a lot of pregnancy for my second, third, and part of my fourth pregnancy till I really started working with my mind, I just did not feel like myself. I felt like I lost Jocelyn. Like I wasn't fun anymore. I wasn't happy. I wasn't outgoing. I struggled. I really struggled. I didn't feel like me. And you might feel not like you. And I know that that's hard. It's hard to not feel like yourself. It can be very difficult. And so I wanted to give you some tips of ways to feel like yourself. A lot of these tips too are in my mini course. So if you want more encouragement, like daily encouragement to help you in these endeavors, I have the Morning Sickness mini course for mental health. And it will it can potentially greatly help. Do you love all those words? Can potentially. It depends on how much work you put into it. If you are willing to allow your mind to work through these things, it can really help your pregnancy go a lot better and help you to not feel like you're losing yourself during pregnancy. There are 44 videos in that course. There's like a couple intro, but the reason I did 44 videos is because I wanted you to have options during that whole 6 weeks. 6 times 7 is 42. So I wanted a minimum of 42 videos to help you through and have options of what videos might help you. I also have downloadable audios for this course so that you can have it in your pocket, on your phone, with you wherever you go, to help you if you prefer to listen to it versus the videos. And there's lots of tips on there about how to help you feel like yourself. So one of those tips is, actually I'm going to give 2 of them. The first one is to listen to music. Turn on music that you love. And in fact, the YouTuber who I just recently listened to her video, she also talked about music and referring to music from her childhood and past and how that really helped her get through, because it brought her back memories of when she was younger and when she was happy and when she was herself. And I have found that to be true too. Like that as you remember things that from your childhood or from when you were younger, from when you were just light and happy, it can help. It does help. Another one that I wanted to give you suggestion to try is to think of times that you are grateful for. So gratitude is a huge part of this course that I have for mental health. And one of those is memories that you are grateful for. So it's also kind of taking you back to memories that you know that are familiar and where you were happy. Think of these memories when you were just so happy, when things were so fun. I like to remember holidays with some family that we would visit down in Utah, and some of the fun times that we had together when you were just yourself, and it was so great. So bring back some of those memories, listen to some of that music, and you can do this, mama. Sometimes it does take surviving a little bit by little bit, but you can survive better by implementing these things into your pregnancy during this time. I did want to give you a quick recap of the things I talked about. The first was to feel it, to heal it. I have found that if you don't do this, a lot of the other mindset tips are harder to get through to your brain. So if you feel it to heal it first, it can help you to do the other things I have mentioned and have mentioned in other podcast episodes. The second tip was to don't make long-term decisions. Don't chop your hair off. The third tip was you're probably not yourself, but remind yourself of happy times. Do that through music or memories. If you want further help, my course is the top link, or it's not the top link, but there's the direct link to it in the show notes. I also have the link to my website, ways to contact me, and Facebook groups if you need some extra support. I want to be here for you during this time because I didn't feel like there was a lot in the area of mental health for pregnancy, and there should be, because it makes a difference. Throughout my 5th pregnancy, I used my own course, and it did make a big difference in my mentality. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing with your other fellow pregnant moms. But thank you most of all for implementing these tips into your own life for more positivity in this pregnancy. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.